Hello, this is Angelo, and we are here with the fifth masterclass of Finish Stronger Challenge. Wow, it's already the fifth week that we are getting started today. And also, let me remind you, we are about to conclude the first month together in this challenge, in this challenging challenge, since it is one of the rarest, durations to be 100 days. So today's subject is Be Your Change, because even though I mentioned that we are about to conclude the first month, the challenge with most of you is to let go of the excuse that something else has to change and not me. This is very challenging, and I know I am repeating myself, but this is exactly the battle that is going on in our minds. So before we begin, first of all, I want to thank you for being here, and I want to congratulate you, because let me tell you, there are thousands that are being signed up, and as we proceed, every single week, you see fewer and fewer of us here, simply because, you know what? It's life, and life happens for most people, and for just a few, they are happening in their life, meaning a new version of them is evolving every single day. So make sure, basically, that this is the case, and you will finish stronger. Next, I want you to switch off your phone, and turn off all the other distractions, basically, that are around you right now, and prohibit you to be fully present to what we will be talking about for the next 30 or 45 minutes. As I like to say, for this 30 to 45 minutes in the world is just you and me. This is it. And we are having, like a private conversation on like the little details that you still have to tweak in your mindset and your skill set and your tool set in order to finish stronger, in order to achieve your number one priority by the end of the year. Of course, you're more than welcome to take notes, even though the replay will be available to you. And now, if you want, you can just simply focus on what we are discussing. And last but not least, I want to remind you that the point of no return has been crossed. And now, from now on, this is the message that you are sending to your mind. From now on, the only chance, the only way to go about it is to land happily and safely at my number one priority, at my top destination. Last week, we saw how you can basically believe it and achieve it. We saw the fundamentals, and the framework around belief boosting. This week, we will focus on you. We will focus on the only thing that basically you have to change. And it is amazing that everything we're talking about here, and all the other masterclasses we're doing, and every daily sort of inspiration that I am writing every single morning, is to change one thing, basically, you. Because when you change, everything else changes for you. So the question that you always should be asking yourself, like many times during the day, and why is that? Why do we ask ourselves, how do I feel? How do I feel? How do I feel right now? And then a couple of hours later, how do I feel right now? You ask because every single change to go from point A to point B requires energy, and the better you feel, the more energy you have. And once again, I've shown you this in the previous masterclass, but once again, as a reminder, this will not be in the upcoming masterclasses. This is just a reminder that the lowest emotional state that you should ever allow yourself is acceptance. And the way to visualize this, as we've said in the previous masterclass, is that acceptance is about 350 at the scale of David Hawkins. But the best way for you to visualize is that acceptance is like the level of the sea. And anything below that, it is basically as if you're underwater. And in the same manner that you cannot hold your breath for a long time, you cannot withstand a lower emotion than acceptance for a long time without consequences. And this is why it is said that 95, sometimes 99% of visits to the doctor begin from stress or any other low emotional state. This is how important it is for us to invest a few minutes and later, as we master these processes, a few seconds to upgrade our emotional state before we do anything else. Let us flash back to the first masterclass for a moment. And back then, I show you basically, we did a bit of life mastery and the fundamentals of life, things that we should have known by the time we could speak and talk, right, and write. But even though now it's the second best time to do so. Let me remind you though, we live simultaneously in two worlds. And the first world is our inner world, and we tend to forget about it a lot. And of course, the second world is the outer world, what we perceive basically. Now, what I said back then was how most people live. Their outer world affects a lot their inner world, and their inner world not so much their outer world. How does your super self live now? Your super self affects a lot their outer world. Meaning, first you are changing you, and then everything is changing for you. So basically, this is a reminder that there are two dynamic forces that affect our beliefs. One is our inner world, and the other is the outer world. One, we can do something about it right now, and the other, not so much. Right? I mean, even if you are the president of the United States, you cannot, just like that say, I will click this button and I will change the weather or something. Or I will double the amount of gold on Earth. Or maybe they can, and I don't know about it. But the case is, though, that mostly what we can affect is our state, and then everything else changes. Meaning, if you want to upgrade your results, you begin with you. So, your super self, because I believe that I have many mentors that I truly admire and I learn a lot from, but I believe my best mentor is my super self. This image of basically the perfect Angelo or the most evolved Angelo. And this super self builds my beliefs, has the beliefs that will create my super life. So you always begin with you. You start upgrading you. Because why am I saying this? Consider this masterclass today as a way to integrate what we've discussed in the first 4 masterclasses. Because many times, I am quite positive this is my 10th finished Stronger Challenge. Many times your mind will say, you know what? This is just theory. No, it's not. It is theory, yes, until you practice it. Yes, what we're discussing here, yes, it is theory. Yes, I've read the books. But once you apply the theory, it's no longer theory. It's applied, so now it's practice. And the more you practice something that works, and the more you master it, and the more it becomes part of your operating system, meaning it has been delegated to your subconscious, and now it's virtually automatic, now you know you're on the right track to not just finishing stronger this year, but also having the best possible foundation for 2024 and on. So basically what we're saying here is that you can be away from your destination and quite far. And maybe let's just, arbitrarily take a checkpoint right now for our progress and say, okay, it's the 30th day. So I was hoping to be at about 30%, of my journey towards achieving my goal. And I am not at 30%. I am at 13%. And you know what, Angelo? I am not happy. This is one way to go about it. But you can have the same result and be unhappy or stressed or hopeful or self-confident with the same results, or even, as I like to say, happy and unstoppable. Let me give you a very common example. You are on an airplane and there is, you hear the blink and then the captain says, it's better to buckle up. We are approaching some turbulence. And before the end of the sentence, some people are getting stressed, and as the turbulence begins, some more people are getting stressed, but the other guy is doing their, their puzzle on their tablet or something, and someone else is reading their book, and so on. And you have 200, 500 people on that airplane with 200 or 500 different responses to the same events. Now, what does that mean to you? It means that the easier and the faster that you disassociate what is going on in your life right now and how you feel, the more in control of your present and your future you become. Because now you know that even though that I'm not necessarily satisfied with my results, I can be happy right now. And if I am happy right now, I am at the best possible state to change what I want in my life. And this is the game changer. And of course, it is, I could go on and on for hours giving you example, but you know what the best example would be? To send me a message and tell me, you know what, Angelo, my circumstances didn't improve, but my emotional state did. And this is the beginning of the end. This is where you put yourself on rails towards finishing stronger, towards the achievement of your number one priority, towards landing happy and unstoppable at your destination by the end of the year. And you know what? I will tell you something else now. As I said before, this is my 10th Finish Stronger Challenge. But what I'm about to say, you don't have to do 10 Finish Stronger challenges to know this. So, what can happen from now until the end of the year? You can either achieve your goal or not. These are the only two potential outcomes, right? You will either achieve what you want or not. You will land or arrive at your destination or not. This is it, right? So, I will not try in any way, shape, or form try to tell you that, you know what, if you do this, for sure, it is guaranteed that you will achieve your goal. You know why I cannot say this? I have no idea what is happening an hour from now. I have no idea what is happening to the next room. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, I have no idea if you fell asleep or not with what I'm saying right now. So, that said, there is so much that we can control, and the best way to go about it is focus on these things. But what I know for sure now, after so many Finish Stronger challenges, is that the more you put yourself in that, state of change, the better you become. And this, regardless of your results, this is a legacy for the rest of your life. Because let me tell you, there is no better victory than winning a higher, stronger, wiser version of you. And as Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. And I want to talk to you about another personality which is much more recent, and maybe you can recognize inside the helmet, it is Max Verstappen. It is, you may have seen this before. I had it at the back of my bookcase in the past, and now I had this as a reminder to tell you a story. Because a few days ago, Max Verstappen won his third consecutive championship, I believe. I think it's the third one. And a few years back, I didn't like Max Verstappen. And I thought his attitude and the way he was treating the other F1 pilots, and most specifically, the F1 pilot that has won like 7 championships, like Lewis Hamilton, I thought it was, completely inappropriate. Of course, I know just a very small piece of the puzzle of the story between these two and everything, and I will not elaborate on that. What matters, though, is that a few days ago, as I was contemplating and as I was crafting the curriculum for this Finish Stronger Challenge, I downloaded basically another realization. And that is, when Max Verstappen 3 years ago was still struggling to win his first championship, he was discontent, basically. He was in a consistent state of not being satisfied, of being unfulfilled. Why? Because from a very young age, the imprint, the image of being F1 champion was in his mind, in his heart. And until he did, he was in this basically disassociation with his self-image, his desired self-image, and this created stress, made him respond in that way. He could have avoided it, but now I know why. Because now it is more self-explanatory why now Max Verstappen is more poised. It does not mean that he is satisfied with the 3 championships and that's it. But now the self-image of F1 champion and the actuality are one. And now his inner self is more poised. Now he's where he belongs, basically. Same goes with who? Yes, with you, yes. That's it. This disassociation, the feeling that something is missing, is simply because you're happy and you're doing your exercises and now you're happy and unstoppable, but at the same point, at the same time, you're a bit unfulfilled or dissatisfied because something is still missing. And that something is the reason why you want to put more focus and more attention towards change and less towards protecting the beliefs and habits that you already have. That, yes, I know they're very comfortable and they're very fun to be around because your day becomes easy. But if you default to that, a month from now, a year from now, you will still have this thing that is missing. Hoping that the outer world will change in a way that will facilitate your dreams. But let me ask you what. If you are in your own vehicle, can you or can you not push the gas pedal as much as you wish? Choose the shift that you want to have. Turn the wheel as much and as left or right as you want. Yes. If you're on a bus, you don't have that control. And so many people are living in a bus, and this is an inefficient, ineffective way of living and expecting that their dreams will become a reality. You don't control the journey then. You've given the hands of the will of your life, the will of your life to some other hands, basically. And now what that means to you is that you want to focus on the 3 fundamental points of your journey. Number 1 is point A, where you are right now. Point B, of course, is where you're going, right? And what is missing? There's something very fundamental that is missing from that equation for you to succeed, for you to arrive at your destination by the end of the year, and that is enough energy. That is all. If you want to go from point A to point B, you need energy. This is all it takes. And always, I mean, if you go from your place, to a friend's place that is 100 miles away, and you know the consumption of your vehicle, you know how much energy you need to get there. This is the minimum amount that you need to have to get there. In the same way, to go from where you are right now to what you want to achieve, you require energy, and the better you feel, the more energy you have. If you feel depressed, you're sluggish, you don't want anything to change, you don't care about anything. If you feel enthused, even hopeful to get started, right? You're hopeful. And then you feel like something is happening within. And then you feel enthusiastic, and then you feel happy and unstoppable. And from that point, even though there are still challenges, you say, you know what? I will smash through these challenges because I have so much energy to get from where I am to where I want to go that I will achieve my goal. I will arrive at my destination. These are the three things that you need to put your attention on. And in another way to see that thing is the 5 fundamental beliefs that we talked about before. And with these 5 beliefs, you can actually measure the chances that you have right now to arrive at your destination. It is the product of these 5 beliefs. And number 1 is, I want to believe that you truly want that instead of something else, of course. And basically, we always have conflicting beliefs, like I want a 6-pack and I want to drink a 6-pack at the same time. You have to choose, right? Number 2 is to fully believe that you deserve. Number 3, believe that you can. Number 4, believe that you will, because knowing that we deserve and knowing that we can do something about it doesn't mean that we will do it. You know what it takes to lose weight, like exercise a bit more and eat a bit less or a bit better. That's all it takes. But very few people actually take that advice, even though they most all know about it. And last but not least, the hardest part of all, the hardest wave, as I like to say, and that is to believe that you are there mentally and emotionally, meaning that you can see yourself at your destination with your eyes closed before you can see yourself at your destination with your eyes open. Why am I saying this now? Because let me ask you this, and I have a beautiful sailboat there to get me from where I am right now to where I want to go, and I love sailing and I love the journey. And when I am at my sailboat, you know what? I need basically nothing else. I enjoy the journey. I'm not in a rush. I know that if I took, like a speedboat, I could go much faster. But I am where I want to be at that point, right? But let me ask you this, though. What if I changed that boat with a boat from America's Cup? Could I go at my destination faster regardless of the weather? And the answer is, of course. Why? Because the being changed and nothing else. So, you don't have to do anything about it right now, but remember that I will send you a link in the upcoming daily source of inspiration with a calculator. And you can do this on your own, of course, but basically what will be happening is that you will multiply the marks that you give to these 5 beliefs, and you will get a result, a percentage of your chances to arrive at your destination by the end of the year, your chances to finish stronger. And the product of these 5 beliefs is the answer. It is an amazing, it is a very eye-opening calculation. But what matters is that you make your chances. Because these 5 beliefs, you can upgrade them, right? You can upgrade how much you believe that you can, you deserve, you will. And as you move, as you're taking action, the more your belief is being upgraded. So let us notice now what needs to change basically on our journey. Where I am, what does need to happen? I need to accept where I am. Full acceptance. To accept fully that I am where I am and that's it. No sugarcoating on one side and no self-beating on the other side. We need accuracy. I don't like the phrase brutal honesty at all. It's not about being brutal, it's about being accurate. We need to focus on what matters and what is serving. It is definitely not the way to go to have, like the stick pushing you in the direction that you think you need to be. You need to be pulled forward by your destination, and that is remembering where you want to go and committing fully. Making, as I like to say, a contract with yourself that this is it, this is non-negotiable. Or another way that I like to show, to demonstrate to myself that this is non-negotiable, the only fixed point in the whole universe is my destination. Everything else can and will change. Many times we say, I am the center of my universe, or I am the center of the universe, meaning that from where I am right now, from my perspective, everything revolves around me, right? Now, I want you to shift your perspective and put it where your super self is. The moment that you arrive at your destination, the moment that you have achieved what you want to achieve, this is the best attitude to live from. Last but not least, how do I get more energy? Easy. Breaths. If you just take a moment now and take 10 slow, deep, diaphragmatic breaths, meaning I fill my belly first and then the upper compartments of my lungs. Slowly, deliberately, consciously, if I take 10 deep breaths, and at the same time, maybe when I am inhaling, I am actually visualizing that I'm getting charged. As if your smartphone is charging right now and you see the bars going up, right? And at the same time, as I exhale, I feel that I'm letting go of stress and all the other negative emotions and negative thoughts. Now I am already more energized. Now, what else can I do? I can drink water, best quality possible. Water is life. Our body is like 80% water. And sometimes we feel depleted. Sometimes we feel we cannot think, we cannot function, we cannot operate. And we drink a glass of water and everything changes. So let go of all these sodas and everything. Maybe you can turn that amount spent of sodas and everything else that is non-serving for you, and maybe you can have, like a small account on the side. And at some point, maybe, just maybe, you can turn this amount into a mastermind with Angelo in the Greek islands or something, which is definitely much more serving than having, like a ton of sodas. Food for thought. Talking about food for thought, of course, the next is nutrition. And the better you eat, the better you feel, and the more you control your nutrition based on what is supporting you, you will find that you will have more energy to unleash towards making your dream a reality. Of course, then you work on the exercises of love, gratitude, happy landing, and you add up all the micro wins that create all these droplets of dopamine on your mind that say, basically your mind says at that point, I want more. I want more of this. I love this. Oh, that felt great. I want more of that. I want more of that. This is what dopamine does in our minds, in our brain. And of course, last but not least, action. Because the more action you take, you either achieve something like a micro win or a big win, or you learn. And this is part of the process. Growth is part of your success. Growth is the way to your success, to your sustainable success. You might achieve something out of luck, but this does not mean that you can replicate it or you can protect it. When you grow, you can replicate your success because it didn't happen by chance. It happened because you had your hands on the wheel of your success. And this is all it takes for you to be at that level, to say, you know what, now I can firmly say, like with absolute confidence, that by the end of the year, I will be at point B, I will arrive at my destination. And it's not your fault that you're not acting from that point. But you know what? It was your smartphone. Our smartphones have, like made so many changes in our lives. And one of them is that we have become more incapable, less moving. This, basically, this scrolling is the most exercises most people get during the day. It's insane to think how this body, basically, even though it is fully alive, it virtually stops moving for generations now. And given that fact, I know that many people will feel so sluggish that they will say, you know what, Angelo, I want to achieve that goal, but I feel, like completely incapable of creating a lot of action, a lot of movement, a lot of activity. And then, of course, it was COVID and many other personal reasons that you believe are why you cannot take what Tony Robbins calls massive action, and what I like to say, massive effective action. The effectiveness is where you want to put your attention, because you can take massive action that is completely ineffective, and at the end of the day, you will feel tired and with no results. Always repeat to yourself that you are taking more effective action every day. Day by day, I am becoming more effective. Day by day, I am choosing the path of least resistance to get where I want to go. Always choosing the path of least resistance to get to my destination, not to any destination. This is the difference. And you want to be effective. Now, it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility, because it is your life. And this is all that matters right now, for you to completely absorb that information. This was a 30-minute intro for me to tell you this. This is your responsibility. I can be here for you. I have committed that if you put, if you post on our group, this is a limiting belief that in no way I can get through this. Or I have this idea, but I don't know how or where to get started. I will be creating some additional content to help you all as much as possible, because if you demonstrate commitment to your destination, I will surely demonstrate commitment to helping you. But you know what? At the end of the day, no matter how hard I try, and no matter how many webinars or masterclasses I do, we will always be talking about the same thing, that your changes in your life are your responsibility. Even the changes that are happening, for us and coming to our lives, like a tornado in some cases, and a war in some other cases, and so on, and elections, things that most of us have no way of controlling or changing. This is how vital it is to focus on the things that you can change. So, if not you, who? And if not now, when? And the answer is yes, I am my change, and then everything else will change, and the time is now. These are the answers that should be vibrating from you right now. You don't have to speak them out loud. You have to feel that this is so. I am the captain of my destiny. I am the master of my thoughts and actions. I will make the necessary changes. I will arrive at my destination. And this is basically your homework. Your homework is from now on until the end of a Finish Stronger Challenge to demonstrate with your attitude, not with your words, to demonstrate with your attitude that you are finishing stronger, and you are not negotiating your vision, your destination, your number one priority. And As an extra bonus for your commitment, what you want to do is to click the link that you will find on the chat, and now, right now, post on our Facebook group that you are committed, that you're not negotiating your destination. And of course, you can groom it as much as you want, put some emojis and the color background that you prefer, and make sure that what you will be posting is not for accountability or anything, because you don't have to share your exact goal or your destination. Just say, I am not negotiating my vision. Just write this and know that this is a contract, an irrevocable contract with yourself. This is basically it. It doesn't matter what we say. I can talk for hours. What I do is what matters. You can read books for centuries and not change. This book didn't change your life. What you did with this book did change your life. This seminar didn't change your life. What you did after this seminar changed your life. My daily thoughts of inspiration will never ever change your life. But if you vibrate from them, if you allow these higher vibrations in you, and if you operate from that higher state, yes, you will change your life from that upgraded attitude, upgraded state. Last but not least, upgrade even more your involvement in the group and your contribution by asking more questions, by sharing more micro wins, and last but not least, inviting everyone who is in need right now of an upgraded mindset, skill set, or tool set to arrive at their destination, to achieve their goal by the end of the year and finish stronger. That said, I will be following up with you during the week inside our amazing group. And of course, I will see you next week with the 6th masterclass. Thank you so much once again for your attention and your participation. And last but not least, always remember that you deserve everything you want, and we all deserve your best self. See you next week. Ciao, ciao.